Bitcoin trades at a new all-time high just above $70,000 and Ethereum brushing up against $4,000 simultaneously. And the real question is, was that it? Was that a rejection? Is it the double derp or the triple derp at this point, or maybe even set up for a quadruple derp and everything's all for naught and it's all going down from here? Or are there potentially statistical setups in the background that do suggest maybe one thing is a little more likely than others, which is what we're going to be going over in today's video. Other than that, I want to first give you a very pertinent message from Mr. NFT Nick. He has this to say, an important message to the Twitter haters.
Crypto Twitter seemed to be amused by my success. I worked hard to buy that yacht. I worked hard to buy this big ass house.
Nice.
Yet you're out there tweeting at me from your tiny little apartment and itty bitty couch.
Yep.
Well, let me tell you, I made a mindset shift. I chose rich every time. So what life you gonna choose?
That's been my problem all along. I didn't choose rich. Fuck! Massive shout out to NFT Nick. He's the best. He's actually the best. Anyway, so we'll start it off with the setup over here, which does suggest that there is a higher probability of a continuation of this upside move. Actually, not just for Bitcoin, but also Ethereum as well. I'll show you the backtested results for the full history of Bitcoin right here. I'll remove my face as well simultaneously. And we can see that this setup has closed a total of 410 trades on the 4-hour time frame. So it trades about 2 to 3 times, maybe in some cases 4 times a month throughout the full history of Bitcoin, with a just over 63% hit rate. Now, in the performance summary of this, we can see that the average winning trade has been about 6.5% from the entry. The average losing trade a little bit less than that, actually. So this is actually quite nice. And the average amount of bars in winning trades, 23. So can take some time. I mean, a 4-hour times 23. I mean, it's like close to, I don't know, 90 hours. So what? That's like 4-ish days from the entry. And we just saw an entry hit on Wednesday. So from Wednesday to today, how many days is that? That's actually that's 18 bars. So between now and Sunday, we likely do expect this one to be closed, you know, again, based off of the averages. And well, if we were to play out towards the average, then what essentially would that imply? About a 6.5% move to the upside, which would put, did I say 6.5%? Was it 6.5%? Let me double check over here. Yeah, 6.5%. Holy shit. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. We can see that would actually imply price action above $71,000. So do we see another try towards new all-time highs maybe this weekend, or too early to start off next week? Perhaps yes. I do think that this one is rather interesting. So I will briefly explain this setup, and then I will actually show you it on Ethereum as well. But it's just using the skeleton key, our nice little bot algorithm, slave algorithm right here, which, well, it's pretty damn simple. We're going to enter in on uptrend, which means 21 above 55 exponential moving average cross, alongside the VMP, Jewel P, the percentile function on it, being below 35. And then the 12-hour time frame also needs to have that same exponential moving average cross to the upside as well. If those conditions are met, it's an entry. You can see, again, that happened right here. And for exit, needs to trade, or sorry, not needs to trade, but needs to see the percentile on the VMP get above, well, not above, but equal to 100 percentile. So you might be asking, well, that sounds like that doesn't happen too often. Well, it wouldn't happen too often, but what I did over here on the VMP is I changed the settings massively to have the look back at 20. So it's very, very sensitive, very, very sensitive. In fact, you can see, you know, several 0 reads and several 100 percentile reads as well. So for reference right now, we are seeing this one at about 65 percentile. It would literally have to get all the way to 100 in order for this one to initiate profit taking. So there's not a reverse function on that, unfortunately, because I actually don't even know if you can do it. But ultimately, you know, that's why we go for those averages. And well, 6.5% again would put you actually above $71,000, which has greater implications for more things to come. I'll explain more about this in a second, but I do want to get over here to the HPDR bands and explain that, hey, if Bitcoin were to take, you know, play out that setup, which does have, again, a just over 63% probability to to play out, which, by the way, if we go ahead and look at the last few iterations of this, we saw a win on this one, getting basically on the first day of March from 61,900, closing this one at 65,000, not bad. And then the one before that was a loss, I would say relatively small loss, from 52,200 to 51,600, about a 1% loss right there, so not bad, all things considered. And then the one before that was a nice big gain right here, 47.5 all the way up to 51,750, 8.5% gainer. And the one before that, again, relatively small loss. This is why I do prefer using volatility to manage both profit taking and risk management. As you'll notice that there was no other conditions for risk management on this one. Anyways, yes, so let's say that does play out, that 63% probability plays out in favor of the upside here. Well, what sort of implications would that have in the short term? It would imply that Bitcoin on the daily HPDR bands once again trades above and closes above the 61.8 level right here. If that happens alongside HPDRV volatility increasing, which it looks like it actually is in the process of doing, then that is going to imply that we do see, probably somewhere around the top side of the next section explored. Doesn't always work like that, but I do find that with these Fibonacci numbers, that happens very often, and that would be all the way at even 72,300. So while this one does have while the average would suggest maybe somewhere around 71,000 bucks, this would actually suggest, it's really more like a range between maybe 71 on the average and in 72,350-ish region. If things get a little more crazy. So I do think that does deserve some recognition. Even the HPDRO representing directional volatilities may be going to get a tick up today as well. So it really depends where things close. Again, if Bitcoin does do that today, or maybe even tomorrow as well, we need to see a daily closures above about 68,900, let's call it 68,900, which again, based off of this over here, slightly higher probability of that happening than not. On top of that, as far as daily stochastic momentum goes, that's weekly, but let's go down to the daily. Daily stochastic momentum will actually turn back to the upside if Bitcoin closes today above 69,500. Until then, momentum is technically still to the downside, and it is kind of in a precarious place here, seeing as it is in the critical zone. Again, I do look at that as not like super concerning yet, but if it comes back down below the critical zone right here, okay, yeah, that's where greater corrections likely emerge. So in this case, what's like a pretty obvious way to be looking at this one as likely to fail anyways, basically below yesterday's low, or if this is yesterday's low, which is 66,000 bucks. So fair enough right there. If Bitcoin comes back down below 66, let's actually see what the HPDR says. HPDR says 66.5 or so, and you see daily closures below there, or even just a tick below actually Friday's low, I'd say as well, yeah, which is 66 basically, or 65,900. At that point, have to be looking towards corrections, at least in my opinion, somewhere closer to the median right here, which is 62,500 to 62,700-ish region, and that is where Bitcoin has found its last couple of bounces here on the 5th and then the 6th respectively of this month. So fair enough, always have to be aware of that. I never want to be presenting just one side on a channel like this. I want to be presenting things from a statistical and probabilistical background. That's how I want to differentiate my content from others out there with like actual fucking statistics, not just saying it's a higher probability. It's like, hey, where'd you get that one from? You want to show me? You want to show me? Oh, okay. All right. That's one of the most cringe things I've ever done. All right. Okay, so now let's go into Ethereum, because Ethereum has pretty much the same setup, actually, except it is more relevant at a higher level here. So Ethereum, we can backtest the whole thing as well. Yeah, Ethereum only goes to 2015, obviously, so let's generate this report. And again, this is a part of the Krown Quant automation features. You get access to the script, the skeleton key external, which you can use to fill out strategies like this, or really anything that you want to try on out. And really the only issue with it is that you have to wait for the damn thing to load. And as you can see, it takes about 10 seconds. And it's also on sale right now for the biggest sale that we'll ever for this program, for this service. Mainly just to incentivize people to get onto it, because realistically, I mean, this is the best thing that I've used in trading. It's just in terms of like, it fucking automatically backtests for you, and then it automatically executes trades for you, and you can essentially format it with any sort of indicators that you have access to on TradingView. It's fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing. Anyways, yes, so that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion, at least. And the real fear that I have is that, like, after the sale fucking ends and you're going to get people who be like, hey, what is it? Oh, can I get it on sale? It's like, dude, we were telling you for a long time, man. That was the whole thing. Anyways, Ethereum right here, obviously not going to have as great net profit, but very similar stats otherwise, percent profitable and profit factor, namely. Obviously, net profit's going to be lower just because there's not as much history for Ethereum compared to Bitcoin, meaning that it hasn't had enough opportunities to really trade here. And you can see, you know, still just kind of smooth and steady up and to the right, which is what we do like. And of course, over here, in terms of largest winning trades, had some fucking massive moves, but average winning trade is just over 8%. And this one, whoops. Hey, why didn't it fire off right here? Maybe I need to put on Thursday. I swear this one was firing off earlier. Let's go down here. I'm guessing this is why. Or no, maybe it's the 8 hours. No, that can't be right. It must be because this one I had issued on Thursday as well. Oh, sorry. No, that's what I was going to say. For Ethereum, okay, if we do include Thursday, I wonder how much that fucks things up, because Thursday actually does fuck things up for long strategies. Usually we're going to find something out on video here. You'll kind of see how I look at strategies and how to sort of interpret things. So in this case, actually including Thursday for Ethereum does make it slightly better. So we can just roll with that. What I was going to say, however, is that if you don't include Thursday and this setup did not fire off over here, we're about to have another setup fire off today, or very likely in the next less than 2 hours, assuming that this current bar, this current period closes somewhere around here. It's going to have an entry as far as the VMP goes. So this one, I'd say I would actually take off Thursday anyways. Still just out of spite for Thursdays, but you know, technically speaking, you probably interpret this one as likely to fire off right here. Again, contingent upon the next less than 2 hours. So fair enough. If we do go with Thursdays, you know, you could look at this entry over here, fair enough as well. But I would say that for this particular one, I would go from here, assuming that Ethereum doesn't really have a major massive move in the next 2 hours, just anywhere within this, you know, between, like, let's say 39.50 to the upside versus about 38.80 to the downside. On a closing basis, and then, you know, if we were to add about 8% to that number, that would put Ethereum well above 4,000. That would put Ethereum towards 4,250. And now this one probably would take some time as well, seeing as, you know, the average amount of bars and winning trades is 21. So that would be literally from today, assuming that this does happen. So 21 would put us out where? That put us out towards Tuesday, actually. So maybe a little bit more, you know, a little bit more relevant in that particular stance. Even if we do take this Thursday one that did fire off right here, what would it say? 8.5% puts you still above 4,000, obviously, but closer to 4,100 rather than I think it was 4,250 we were just looking at. So, you know, realistically, I think that this one very likely does fire off, but, you know, keep your eye on the VMP if you have it. If it closes somewhere around here, it's you know, again, there's a higher probability of an upside move here than not, just over 62.25%. So fair enough. Again, these are statistics, not certainties, and inevitably over time, there's going to be instances where it fails. I mean, in this case, you know, basically 4 out of 10 times you're going to get a failure, more or less. But yeah, I think that's probably a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular one. I got a very interesting comment yesterday. Someone was like really complaining. I prefer when your videos are 10 minutes, actually. Yes, sir. And anything else that you'd like. But fair enough. I mean, I do appreciate the feedback. But yeah, again, this is on sale with the, hey, damn it, I forgot it over here. I forgot to say it earlier, with the code HAPPY6year in all capitals, just for the Krown quant automation features. Again, I really want to show this as hard as possible until the end of the month where the sale does end, because it's the biggest sale that we'll ever for this one. And in my opinion, it's the best service that we offer, just because of, I mean, you can have a fucking bot slave execute trades for you. Like, it's made my life significantly different, instead of just kind of sitting at the computer all day. Now, of course, that also comes with its own set of challenges, but for my preferences, I prefer that set of challenges over doing things in a discretionary manner. And I'm not saying that discretionary can't work or anything like that. It can work. I just think for myself and probably many other people out there as well, you know, having things done automatically for you and kind of trading more in this manner of using statistics, I think is going to make a lot of sense for a lot of people. But anyways, that's a decision for you to make for yourself. The real sale for everything else starts on Monday, and yeah, we'll end things right there. As always, I want to wish you the best of best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.